Namaste. Are you able to hear me? Yes, wonderful. Namaste, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning to all of you. Welcome to this session 6 of this master class series on learning superpower mindfulness. We've been learning different levels of mindfulness, different levels of awareness over the last 5 sessions. In the last session, we learned mindful decision making. So, how many of you tried this method? How many of you tried the method of mindful decision making? And for how many of you it helped or you trusted the process? Just type yes in the chat window or helped or tried. Trusted the decision. Wonderful. Tried, not yet tried. Okay. It helped. Wonderful. So, again, it's not necessary that you need to have a very big decision to be made for you to go through those steps, right? It could be as a simple choice. It could be the multiple hundreds of choices we make during a day. So it could be any of those choices that you can quickly go through. Those steps are 5. As you increase your meditation, as you increase your level of awareness, you'll be able to quickly feel what's happening in the body, right? So that is how it helps. And how many of you have been practicing at least one of the mindful exercises that we've been listing every week, like mindful walking, mindful of your feeling tones, mindful of your emotions, mindful of your thought process? How many of you have been practicing? Mindful journaling, okay. Mindful walking definitely should be. How many of you have practiced mindful eating? Mindful doing of activities? Yes, wonderful. So, for how many of you, since we started this sessions 3 weeks ago, we've been going through multiple awareness, steps of awareness or mindfulness, right? How many of you feel since the time we started, along with your practice of meditation, the wisdom session that we've been going through really helped you increase your level of awareness? You can type 1, 2, or 3, right? If it has helped you a minimum, then 1. If it has helped you a couple, then 2, right? So how much has it helped you in your awareness, level of awareness? 2. Wonderful. Everybody seems to be level 2. Someone is level 5. Wonderful. 3. So there's an increase in level of awareness for each one of us. Now I take time to pause. Wonderful. Yes, 3, 2. So good. So good that at least we know why awareness is very important, right? And then I'm sure people who have type 2, 3, 4, or 5, you also realize the benefits of it, right? Because now you've seen your awareness increase. Because of that, you are pausing before you kind of responding or reacting. You're able to maybe change some of your behaviors. You're able to kind of feel a lot more intuitive or at least taking decisions, right? So it could be any of those, but it's good. I think that's Buddha's greatest teaching. And in fact, everything right from our karma yoga also talks about how when you do any activity with complete awareness without thinking about the results, right, then your karmic debt slowly starts decreasing. So everywhere it's about the awareness. So today we're going to a little bit talk about thoughts, how thoughts create suffering, and what do you do to, what are the steps? We covered that a little bit in session 4. So we'll cover a little bit more about the 7 factors of enlightenment before we dive into meditation as well. All right. So let me begin. And of course, we'll definitely want to hear some of your experiences. If you have any questions, we'll answer. but some of your experiences through this 6 weeks of class as well, we'd want to look at. All right, so we will now look at mindfulness of thought. So last session, we saw one part of mindfulness of thought, right? How thought or the rational decision needs to be supported by your body, your feeling tone, and your mental state. Now we look at thought because thought is what creates the sense of self. I, me, and everything, right? So we've been through this body, the Vedana, the feeling tone, the mind states, and thought, right? Again, this is all practical understanding. That is what all of you have been saying, right? So this is Buddha's doctrine talks about something called the five aggregates, who we really are, what we actually really are. When you say I or me, what are you actually referring to? And Buddha's answer is these five aggregates, right? Form, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. What is form? Form is a physical body. It's pretty straightforward. Physical body, all material aspects of it, form of physical body or any object, whatever it is. So form, rupa, is the physical body. Then feeling, we went through that, pleasant, unpleasant, neutral feeling tones. And what happens with feelings? Okay, so form, our physical body keeps changing, right? And then there is a lot of science that takes that we are not the same body that we were yesterday, because every day millions of cells get regenerated. Our heart is not the same heart that we had 20 years ago, because the heart, every cell in the heart gets regenerated. So our body cells change, the skin changes, the our thoughts change, right? Our hair color changes. So everything changes in the physical body. Similarly, feeling tone, pleasant, unpleasant, neutral feeling, as we saw, it arises, it passes, it arises, it passes, right? So this is what we saw in session 3. And similarly, perception, recognition, and mental labels, right? So things like that's a tree, this is anger. We talked about mental states, right? This is anger, this is happiness, this is frustration. Even those labels that we attach to different things also are just labels and categories. They also keep changing. Mental formations are thought, emotions, intentions, decisions, mental activity, our willingness to work, right? So all that also keeps changing from time to time. This is all the mind, whatever the mind stories it spins, this is what the mind does. It creates a story based on some reality, or it creates a story even before a reality happens. And consciousness, awareness itself, right? And then awareness is nothing but knowing what we are experiencing. I'm aware of my body. I'm aware of the way I'm moving my hands. I'm aware of the thoughts. I'm aware of the feeling, right? I'm aware of the actions. So awareness also keeps changing, as I said, depending on our energy level, right? When we are sick, when we are feeling down, when your physical body is not cooperating well, then our awareness is less. But when we are fully enthusiastic, suddenly an unexpected close friend comes in and meets you, then you are a lot more conscious. Your awareness is a lot more, right? You're operating at higher level of consciousness. So the key thing here is all five of these are impermanent. Again, Buddha's biggest teachings, right? We saw our bodies not the same, our feelings rise and fall. Perception keeps changing depending on additional information that you keep getting. Our thoughts, emotions, intentions keep changing, and our consciousness, awareness. All these is what we represent as I. When I say I, it is a sum total of all these things. And we saw all these things change. When the components of something change, that means that itself changes. So the self, what we talk about as I, is not permanent. So Buddha's teaching is, why the hell are you so bothered about my position, my title, my thing, whereas everything is changing. There's no my that is constant, right? And as you see here, like a river, you can never step in the same river twice. The river looks continuous, but the river flow is continuous. The water is never the same. And similarly, what we are also keeps changing, because these five aggregates keep changing. And we're always a combination of these five. For example, when we drink a glass of orange juice, right? which ingredient do you taste, right? Do you taste the fruit? Do you taste the sugar? Do you taste the vitamin C? Do you taste any of those different subcomponents? No. So you just consume it as orange juice. Similarly, the self is a combination of all these, right? And then any action that we perform, all these activities happen. You pick up a cup of coffee, right? Or I pick up a glass of water, right? I feel that there is a pressure, there is a physical form that I'm holding, right? There is a feeling tone, whether it is hot or cold or warm or whatever. And then there is a perception. I know I need to hold it appropriately. And then there is a thought. As soon as I drink the coffee or water, so basically there is some thoughts that come in. Oh, this is cold, this is okay, the sugar is okay, and all that, right? And I'm aware of it. And it keeps changing. So anything that we do is a combination of these five, and all these happen together. And whatever we talk about as I, me, or mine is a trap, because there is nothing constant out there. Everything is impermanent, right? So we experience aggregates, the five processes arising naturally, and then we say, this is me, this is mine. And that is what causes suffering. Clinging produces pain. Clinging causes that suffering. For example, someone is criticizing you, right, in a meeting or outside. So what happens? Sound waves hit your form, your physical senses take that and then provide it to your brain to process it. Before that, there is an unpleasant feeling or Vedana. Then the mind intervenes and say, oh, he is criticizing you. That's what is recognition, right? He's criticizing you. And then there is thoughts that come up, mental formation and thoughts. Then immediately you need to defend yourself or be okay, right? So that's thoughts or defensive reactions are the mental formations. And we are aware of all that. That is consciousness, right? So that is how every experience you can decode it into these subcomponents. So it could be anything like I am being criticized, it could be like my work is being rejected, I'm a failure, all these. But when you see clearly that this is I or me is constantly changing, you will not take that criticism so strongly. You will let go of it. Hey, this is going to change, right? First, it may not even be the reality that someone is telling some remark. Your mind is connotating the story that it's criticism, but it could be a valid remark. Now, with awareness, with mindfulness, we are able to consciously decide, oh, that's not criticism, that is a feedback. Now, instead of defending, let me respond or whatever. So there is no permanent self being threatened. That ego self is not permanent. So you don't need to worry about someone is threatening the existence of that, right? So what are these thought patterns that create suffering? There are a few of these. I mean, there may be many more taxonomy that other books or other psychology probably might have something different. So these are the thought patterns that create suffering. So one is identification thoughts. These are different categories you can assume. I am anxious, I am failure, I am unlovable, I can't do this. That's all identified with your sense of I or me, right? So instead of I am anxious, you can say anxiety is present. I am angry, anger is present. So you disassociate with, and then you disidentify with whatever is happening. You create a space between that and what you are. The second category is ownership thoughts. This is mine. This is my car. This is my house. This is my family. This is my child. This is my body. Or my reputation is being ruined. Right? These are my ideas. So every time you cling on to it, if you're not adaptable, it will cause suffering. And then comparison, we all know, right? Inferiority complex, superiority complex, all that comparison causes a lot of those thoughts that create suffering. But different people, different paths. We need to understand that every person is different. And yogic science talks about how each one of us are shaped by our karmic residues, our karmic vasanas. Each one of us are different. Our talents are different. Our problems are different, right? So that is the solution to be comparative thoughts. And then there is this thoughts about permanence. I'll always be like this. Nobody can change me or nobody can change a person. Usually these thoughts are regarding to somebody else, also things will never change, right? Situation will never become better. These people are always like this. How many times we keep telling that the situation will not improve? So things like permanence thoughts. And then there is also these thoughts about how you always expect some things to never change, right? We think our kids, oh my God, they were like this when they were 10 years old. Now they've grown up 30 years old, they are talking differently. Yes, things will be different. You can't expect a person, spouse can't be the same 10 years ago versus now. A colleague can't be the same, a friend can't be the same, right? So expecting something that is impermanent to be always permanent causes suffering. And then catastrophizing, right? One mistake, we completely go into say, oh, I am a failure, I can't do this, I ruin everything, right? Or some remark by someone says, okay, everyone hates me. So catastrophic, or you read up a paper of newspaper, some news in the newspaper, and think, oh my God, what is the world going to? Things are like this, right? Some young person is going and shooting people. What will happen every year? So you catastrophize a lot of things. Again, that's a story that our mind concocts to make you feel superior, right? So there we need to think about this is just one event. What can I learn from that event? And then there is always this should and must thoughts, this compulsive thoughts. Oh, as a spouse, as a kid, as a parent, right? Whatever I need to do these things. Something that we are doing compulsively. Oh, I'm at a job I don't like, but I'm doing things compulsively. These again give rise to suffering. I should, there are rules, unwritten rules I need to follow, should and must. Instead of that, you can always say, I prefer, or things like expectation. I mean, there is an expectation angle. Things should happen this way. When I do something or something happens, things should happen this way. The expectation, or the person should behave a certain way, right? So that's an expectation. So that is where, if you can think about, I prefer, it would be good if that person responds that way. It would be good, it would be nice if the situation is that way, right? It would be nice if the weather is favorable for a particular situation, right? So that is, so once you replace this with alternative thoughts, so when you're conscious of the thought patterns, you can replace it by an opposite thought and then avoid suffering. Or the moment you are aware of the suffering, you can intervene and change the thought, right? So again, there awareness is very important. So those thoughts cause several types of thought patterns, cause several types of suffering. I mean, so there is this pain, suffering from pain, or what do you call that, dukkha, because of pain. It's obvious suffering, physical pain, illness, injury, grief, loss of something, emotional pain. This is what everyone recognizes as suffering, right? There is some pain happening, some incident happening, some loss happening. That is one type of suffering, which is standard. Again, as I said, as long as we don't color it with the second arrow or the second dart, we are able to observe the pain and be with the pain, or accept it or let go, whatever it is. But when we don't have, when your mind doesn't add that additional layer, the pain is bearable. But the moment the mind adds that additional layer of suffering, it becomes a lot more painful. Then the second category of suffering is suffering of change. We just spoke about it, impermanence, right? Pleasant experience don't last. The honeymoon ends. The promotion becomes ordinary. The new car gets old. Successful achievement fades in other people's memory. They will say, wow, wow, for 2 days, but after that, you're a normal person. So every happiness contains the seed of suffering because it will end. So we can't be elated by our achievements, right? And suffering of change, situations change, climate changes, financial situation change, jobs change, friends change, people change. So there is this whole thing of change. In fact, in our corporates, there's always this transformation projects where you need to work with a different technology. That itself is a big change for a lot of people because they need to upgrade their skills, right? So suffering of change causes suffering. Again, the moment that we realize, we are aware of it, this is change is going to be painful. Let me live with it. Let me undergo this experience. Let me understand what am I learning from this. So that is the right way to address or overcome the suffering of change. And then there's the suffering of conditioned existence. As I said, each of us are conditioned a different way due to our past karma, due to our upbringing, due to our social environment, due to our education and schooling, right? And there is always this unsatisfactoriness of trying to build permanent happiness, right? We think that once we get that job, once we achieve something, we'll be happy, right? So that's just a moving goalpost. So this is like building house on sand. Everything is, and then we just saw how our five aggregates are impermanent, right? Whatever you want to give, whatever, if you want to satisfy your ego based on your pre-programming, that's not going to last long because everything is unstable, everything is unreliable, everything is not self. So suffering of change, suffering from pain, and suffering from conditioned existence. Conditioned existence is this low-level anxiety, how things are not right. Something's not quite right. There's always this restlessness. We knowing that. But when you're aware of it, you know this is temporary, right? The key understanding is suffering is not just bad things happening. Suffering happens because of resistance, the clinging, the wanting things to be different, but you're not able to accept those things. How do you recognize all this? This is where mindfulness of thought comes into play. You are aware of that thought, you know it is temporary, and then you let go of it and then move on to it, right? And causes for suffering. I mean, Buddha's greatest invention or discovery or teaching is craving, right? So that is a third noble truth as well. So craving, the cause for suffering is craving, attachment, clinging, right? So craving for pleasure, I want more of this. Craving for existence, I want to become something, or I need a good partner, I need a good job, I need a good house, I need something to maintain my image, right? And then anytime there's a failure, there's an identity threat. And then craving for non-existence. So craving for existence of something pleasant, craving for non-existence of something that I don't like. I don't like the situation. I don't like the behavior. I don't like the person. I don't like the job, whatever, right? So again, we saw those five hindrances pretty much mostly related to it. So the wanting or not wanting is not the problem, but the it's not about, sorry, the wanting or non wanting is the problem. It's not the thing, right? Only our, because the wanting or not wanting is different from different people. Same job, one person will like it, but other person will not like it, right? So there is nothing wrong with the job, but it's more about what we are feeling, right? So those are the few things that cause suffering, right? At a brief, right? Thoughts cause suffering, and then the cause reason for suffering is different types of craving. And how do we let go of it? Again, as I said, living the practice, right? You have the formal practice of meditation, and informally we keep checking in journaling, reflection, and you go through mindfulness of body, mindfulness of feeling, mindfulness of mental states, mindfulness of thought patterns, right? And every time you suffering arises, you ask these four questions. What is the body experiencing? What is the feeling tone? What is the mind state? What is the thought pattern? Right? And then it will reveal suffering. And then moment you recognize it's a suffering, you move over. Right? So here are some examples. Criticism, initially it might be defensiveness, but now we are looking at more as awareness. There is space, and then we give it a right, wise response. So we looked at several levels of mindfulness and suffering. And there is this, of course, there is this, Buddha had several solutions to overcome suffering. And we know the fourth noble truth, right? The eightfold path. We're not going to cover that here, but in Satipatthana Sutta, which is what we are covering as part of the foundations of mindfulness, Buddha talks about the seven factors of enlightenment or freedom. I mean, enlightenment, for most of us, it's more about freedom from suffering. It's not about moksha, right? So we briefly touched upon this in session 4. I'm going to quickly dive into each one of those factors. We can cultivate each of these factors through meditation or through conscious behavior, right? Awareness. So these are the 8 limbs. Buddha called them as bojjhangas, the arms or legs of awakening. And what are these? Mindfulness, which is clear present moment awareness. Investigation or analysis or curious inquiry into what we are experiencing. Energy, I'll cover each of these. Energy, joy, tranquility, concentration, and equanimity. These are the 7 factors. And it's universal. When you cultivate each of these 7 factors, you will live a life of joy, life of happiness away from suffering. And almost all spiritual practices, some way or the other, make you develop these factors, make you develop the most of these factors, right? So 3 of these are active factors. For example, energy is related to discipline, investigation, you actively investigate, and then joy, you experience joy, right? These 3 are called 2, 3, and 4 are more about uh, being actively doing it, whereas the passive factors, tranquility, concentration, equanimity, are passive. They get automatically generated through meditation and through higher level of awareness. And the balancing factor is mindfulness. And that is why we talked about mindfulness as a superpower, right? And how they work together when hindrances, the moment you're aware. So these are like antidotes to the causes of suffering, right? We talked about several thought patterns, right? Like craving for existence, craving for suffering, identification. So every time you're identified with something, you're mindful of that particular identification, or let's say attachment to something. Then you're investigating, why is it causing suffering? Oh, because I'm attached to this particular object, because I'm attached to this particular thing, right? And you apply energy, you're conscious of it, and then you overcome it, right? And how do you develop joy? You kind of come up with the antidote, then that leads into tranquility, concentration, and equanimity. So we'll quickly look at each of these. Mindfulness, we've covered this quite a bit, right? So mindful when you are drinking your morning cup of coffee, or when you're in the difficult conversation, right? Or you're responding to that work mail, the moment you are mindful and aware of it, right? You feel a sense of sensation in your body, you feel a sense of what is happening in your Vedana, the pleasant, unpleasantness, what is the emotion it's triggering, oh my God, it's not right, the thought pattern. So you're aware of it and then able to change your response or reaction to it, right? So this is present moment awareness of what's actually happening right here, right now, right? And again, the key thing is mindfulness is the right amount of awareness, because the moment we are investigating it too much, then you get into analysis paralysis. It's not about over analysis, it's about this right amount of awareness where you are oh, okay, this is what it is, right? So awareness includes looking at the situation and also deciding on the response, right? So mindfulness is the foundation. We've covered a lot, investigation, the second factor. So what is this? This is about, for example, if I am feeling some thought, is that thought helpful or unhelpful? Why am I thinking the thought? That is all. So the moment you ask yourself those questions, then you get an answer. Or for example, I'm feeling bad about some situation. Immediately, why am I feeling bad about situation? Where is the feeling? Where am I feeling it in the body? Right? What thought patterns triggering that incorrect feeling? Am I attached to something? Or is it because of something changing I'm not willing to accept? Right? So I need to change my behavior. So you ask these questions, what is this? This is emotion. This is I'm feeling bad about some particular situation. Where do I feel this? Locate in the body. How strong is this? We used this metric last session. What triggered this? Understand the causes. Causes could be any of those 5 hindrances, right? It could be desire, it could be aversion, it could be doubt, it could be sloth and torpor, or whatever, restlessness or anxiety, right? And what does this need? How do I handle this? Through awareness, through some conscious action, or through letting go, right? So when this factor is strong, you are always curious about your experience. What is this feeling? Where do I feel it? You're exploring, not assuming, right? Your mind stays engaged. When investigation is weak, right, you just go through them. So you'll have to have kind of strong awareness, strong focus on investigating why. Like for example, you're feeling anxiety before a presentation. Instead of labeling, I am anxious, you instead of attributing to yourself, you say anxiety is present. Why is it present? Right? Because of some past patterns. Now you kind of change that. Okay, anxiety is not mine. I am not always the anxious person. Anxiety is happening, and then you go away, right? What is this anxiety? Where do I feel it? The moment you give it a lot more time by feeling it in the body and other places, so you will let go of it. Similarly, conflict with a colleague, conflict with a partner, so that triggers a certain cycle of feelings and mental states, right? So you investigate, you kind of analyze, or not over analysis, but just a subtle analysis, subtle feeling of it, and then you let go. So that is why investigation is important. Curious inquiry is that factor. All right. The third factor, energy. What do we mean by energy here? Energy is nothing but persistence, persistent effort and determination, right? So you can't be mindful for a couple of minutes and then move to mindlessness the remaining part of the day. So what Patanjali talks about, what Buddha talks about, what all spiritual masters talk about is anything, anything of awareness, anything related to awareness, anything related to consciousness is a continuous, persistent practice. Every moment we need to be aware. Every moment we need to be in the present moment. Every moment we need to be conscious, right? And for example, the practice of meditation. How do you get all the benefits of meditation? Through continuous practice. You need the right energy to maintain that practice. Energy is not anxious striving. Okay, let me do it. I'll achieve that. Let me do it. It'll let go of my pain. Let me do it. It will let go of my emotional issues, or it will improve my sleep. Right? So a strong person with strong energy shows up for the practice every day. You persist through difficulty. You don't give up when bored. Whereas someone who doesn't have this energy will say 2 days, okay, today I don't feel like doing, or I'm not motivated. Motivation is that energy. Motivation, inspiration is that level of energy. So you can always kind of get this kind of energy by wisdom, by reading inspirational books, by being with like-minded people, being in a sangha. So all those will motivate you. They'll give you that energy to continue the practice. And then that's what, and we keep saying, right? Patriji keeps saying, and all of us keep saying, make a practice of meditation non-negotiable. Whatever be it, just like brushing your teeth. Do we say, I don't have time to brush my teeth, I don't have time to have food, I don't have time to take bath? No. So not negotiating with yourself every day, there is this practice. Similarly, let me be mindful of my walking every time I walk, unless until there is someone accompanying who's chatting around, right? So every opportunity we will make use of, and then the motivation comes from every time you show up, making that minute celebrations, right? So you're noticing progress. That is why we always share experiences. That is why I asked you, how did you, how do you rate yourself in the awareness, improvement in your awareness since we started this master class? A lot of you responded, 2, 3, 5, and all that, right? So you celebrate each time, every time you feel the pause. Oh my God, my reaction now is a lot different from earlier. The people around you will notice, oh, your behavior has changed. So every time someone pays that compliment, celebrate internally, notice the progress, however small it is. So that is energy, virya, right? This is, you continue the practice, not just sitting and meditating, but that awareness practice continues throughout your whole day. The next factor is joy. Absolutely necessary for everything that we do, including our practice of meditation. So joy is natural happiness, delight, it's inner exuberance. It is not about grasping for pleasure. You don't sit in meditation to feel the bliss, right? But then as we go through meditation, we feel that inner joy. There is light smile that comes in deep states of meditation. Again, different levels of joy, right? We feel minor joy, body has stands, goosebumps, we get goosebumps, we get that energy movements, right? That is minor joy. Momentary joy, you feel wonderful for just a moment. Showering joy, it's as if joy descends. You get that feeling and disappears like waves on a shore. Uplifting joy lifts the body, energizes, and then all pervading joy, joy flows through your body, flows through around you. So different grades. These are also grades of piti or grades of body energy movements. When joy is present, any practice feels rewarding. When joy is absent, any practice feels dry, feels obligatory. It feels as if we are forcing ourselves through the motion. When we force ourselves through sitting through meditation just because someone told us, or just because I need to go through this, then believe me, you will not get into deeper into meditation. You will sit, you'll probably get a little bit of relaxation, but not the real benefits of it. Right? Same thing to the joy of being mindful, joy of being aware. And all of us know, right? The moment you are mindful, I keep talking about this example of drinking coffee. I don't know whether I've already recited that. The moment you have that cup of coffee, right? The way you feel, the way it tastes, the sweetness, the way the warmth or heat of the coffee, the sound, the way you drink, the way it looks. So once you experience all the five senses in a cup of coffee, then that brings you joy, that brings you pleasure, because all your five senses are involved in it. Similarly, any activity that we do, walking, playing badminton, playing tennis, right? The moment all our five senses, entire awareness, we are aware of what is happening, there is a sense of joy that automatically happens. And as all spiritual masters like Krishna and Buddha and even modern authors talk about it, the moment we are doing things for the pure joy of it, that is absolute enlightenment. That is freedom from suffering. You don't do things seeking something, seeking some outcome, but just the act of doing becomes a joy, becomes gives you a sense of happiness. That is where we emerge as some freedom from suffering, freedom from bondage, right? How do you cultivate joy? Again, appreciating progress, don't have it. So appreciating progress, remembering the benefits, right? And joy arises naturally when mindfulness is strong. So that's again why superpower mindfulness is superpower. And you allow it by removing obstacles that your mind adds in terms of stories, right? So that is joy. And the fifth factor is tranquility, again, an offshoot of a meditative practice. This is a state where your body is tranquil, your mind is settled, all emotions, all expectations, all anxiety calms down, right? And then the obstacles, as you see here, constant stimulation from phones, screens, notifications, chronic low-level agitation that exhausts the nervous system. So tranquility, food plays a very important role. Your body movement or energy, physical energy plays an important role, right? And then the right exposure to the right news, right things plays an important role. So when we say tranquility, it is what Buddha called as pasiddhi, body, mind, stillness. And how do you cultivate tranquility? Body scan meditation, long sitting of meditation, reducing caffeine and stimulants, creating quiet spaces, pause between tasks. We talked about mindful moments, right? The moment, for example, you're sitting in your workplace for a long time. As you wake up, as you get up, and then maybe go over to someone's space or go to fill a bottle of water or go to the restroom, the walk that you make is that if you make it as a mindful moment, mindful walk, feeling completely aware of what is happening, that itself brings in a sense of tranquility in each one of us, right? So the fifth factor is tranquility. That again calms down a lot of stuff. And then of course, factor six is concentration, right? We develop concentration through meditation. The mind is collected, unified, it's not scattered. We saw that during the mindfulness of mental states, right? As you seen in my chart on meditation as well, beginner mind wanders constantly, right? We start off being mindful. We are mindful of 2 out of 10 instances, right? But over time, we are mindful of every activity that we do. In meditation, for a beginner, mind wanders constantly, but then you're able to focus for a few minutes, and then you're absorbed in your breath or whatever object that you're focusing on for longer periods. And then concentration is very important because concentration enhances our awareness, deepens our awareness. And when our brain waves go into those theta and delta states, slow speed, that is where a lot of physical healing happens. a lot of cleansing of our karmic residues happen, right? So this is, again, you can train in concentration both in meditation and outside of meditation by avoiding all distractions, setting aside a block of time for you to focus on deep work. And the last thing is equanimity. We spoke about it, and we also spoke about how meditation develops equanimity, right? And then Buddha talks about these 8 worldly winds. Our equanimity is disturbed by these 8 things: gain, loss, fame, disrepute, praise and blame, pleasure and pain. And when we have strong equanimity, we can't be blown over by these 8 winds. That's what is teaching. Equanimity is not being indifferent or cold detachment. It's not about not caring. It's about caring, but with awareness, caring without getting attached to a particular wind, a particular sensation, right? So equanimity is not about not caring. When equanimity is strong, you will be able to receive any criticism strongly. You are in balance in pleasure or pain. You don't add that second arrow. You don't add that second dart, right? And you are calm amidst chaos. You are calm amidst all the confusion that is there, right? Because you know everything is impermanent. You know things are not going to be the same, right? There are these things, this too shall pass. Things are not going to be the same. This is what it is. Can I be with what it is as is? So this too shall pass is a famous thing, right? Everything, both happiness passes. When you're happy, elated, wonderful, you celebrate, good. It's going to be different tomorrow. And similarly, sadness, sickness, pain, mental suffering, all that passes just one day. So it's not that it is not going to dictate your identity. Same thing happens in meditation. No 2 days experience are the same. One day we wrestle with thoughts, the other day we go into deep bliss states, the third day it's going to be something else. So the very fact the experience in meditation is different teaches us to be equanimous to it, right? Not crave for a certain set of experiences, or be averse or fearful of certain set of experiences, right? So my dear friends, the whole reason that you're focusing on the 7 factors is the antidote to suffering. How do you cultivate the 7 factors? Beginning with mindfulness, right? And each of these, we look at the different levels of mindfulness of body, your feeling state, your mental state, as well as the thought pattern that's given to it, right? The 7 factors lead to freedom from suffering, deep peace, wisdom, and liberation. They develop naturally, right? When we practice consistently, remove obstacles, and trust the process. And as you must have seen the slide earlier, right? I've showed you this. These are the states and breathfulness meditation. All of us are practicing breath mindfulness meditation. All the factors get cultivated in your regular practice of breath mindfulness meditation. How? We are mindful. So we start focusing or observing our attention at the breath, right? And that is attention, concentration. We start observing the breath. We are trying to focus on breath after breath after breath. That is concentration. And the moment there is a distraction, the moment there is a thought that is coming, your mind wanders. But you are mindful of the wandering. You are aware of the mind wandering. You bring your attention back to your breathing, right? That's attention. So attention and awareness, 2 factors that are kind of cultivated in the first 2 steps. As we continue the practice, there is a sense of joy that comes up in meditative state. Sometimes you might smile, you feel a sense of joy that slowly develops into rapture or bliss, right? So that leads you to the factor of joy. And once we go through this joy, once the state of bliss, achieve a state of bliss, then there is the sense of tranquility. Then there is a sense of calm, sukha, tranquility, right? The peace of mind. You'll see that sense of peace. And then as you continue to develop the practice, what is important? We thought about energy. You need to have that energy to continue the practice, So that's the factor of energy, the consistency, the persistence that we cultivate during a regular practice of meditation. And as we continue to do that, we enter the state of upeksha, equanimity, right? These are the empty mind state. This is what is stillness. So once you emerge out of that particular kind of meditation, that day you will see there are things that might be happening the same way as earlier, but you will not be as bothered as you were earlier. That's a state of equanimity, right? So this is how breath mindfulness meditation cultivates the seven factors. And as we cultivate the seven factors, we recognize, we are aware of anything that's causing us suffering. We immediately know, hey, this is suffering, this is impermanent. I don't want to be causing another layer of pain. Let me either accept it or let go of it, right? So that is what the seven factors of enlightenment, the seven factors of freedom. You can go and research on the web. So it's a very common Buddhist teaching. And seven factors of enlightenment are cultivated consciously top down to your cognitive brain by what we had followed, the four stages of mindfulness, four levels of mindfulness, or by a regular practice of mindfulness meditation. That is why we call it as mindfulness meditation, breath mindfulness meditation. We are mindful of the breath in the body, in the sensation, in whatever is happening, we bring our attention back to our breath. And through that, we cleanse a lot of our thought patterns. All right. So with that, let's dive into, so that's about the, we talked about the four levels of awareness, and mindfulness is also essential to cultivate the seven factors. And that is why we call mindfulness as a superpower. And what is mindfulness? It's not difficult to cultivate. It's just awareness. Starts from awareness of your body sensations, then awareness of your feeling tones, awareness of your emotion or mental states, awareness of your thought patterns. Each of these are incremental. The foundation is mindfulness of the body, awareness of your body sensations. All right. So before we dive into this practice of meditation, I just want to kind of quickly show you a couple of things that are happening with at Pyramid Valley. I just want to kind of quickly walk you through the upcoming programs. I'm sure all of you are aware of this. The Pyramid Valley website, pyramidvalley.org, will take you to the Pyramid Valley website where you can see a lot of these upcoming programs. So as you know, the meditation for beginners, I'm sure some of you probably are attending that. There is a 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. meditation session that is happening every day for the first 21 days of a month. So anyone who wants to kind of regularly practice meditation can join that group. And besides that, I think Chandra from Buddha CEO, we're having this 40-day meditation session that is continuously happening every morning from 6 to 7. And there is also a parallel session happening called Stillness Beats. You go to PMC English, you'll see that Stillness Beats, again, a morning meditation process. A lot of meditation sessions happening. You can join any of those. Then I'm doing this 5-day stillness retreat. You can go to this page, pyramidvalley.org/stillness, and you can see the different, this is happening from February 20th to 24th next week. In this, we're going to do 7 to 8 hours of meditation every day. This is kind of for people who know Vipassana. This is kind of a lightweight Vipassana, right? So daily group meditations in classroom and mega pyramid, silence, complete silence and mauna for 3 days, the second, third, and fourth day. We do 5-element meditation in nature, daily journaling, reflection, very limited wisdom session, just 1 hour of wisdom session every day. And then you'll have to let go of your phones the moment you start your session, and then you will get your phones and devices back on the last day before you leave, right? And there's we practice mindful eating, we practice mindful walking, we practice a lot of mindfulness that we've learned in these courses as well, right? And then there's a daily schedule as well, right, from 5 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. What do we do? And there are a lot of activities that we do. So if you or any of your friends are interested to join, be in silence, be in the nature of Pyramid Valley without your phone bothering you. So this is the way, and then this is the right way to practice. We'll go through the breath mindfulness meditation step by step in that particular in those 5 days, right? And then there is this new session starting off called Cosmic Echoes every Saturday and Sunday morning, 7 to 8:30 a.m., which is being done by Pyramid Music Meditation Academy. There is going to be a live music playing, again, another meditation session. And as you know, full moon meditations are a monthly event at Pyramid Valley. And then there is BA Master session that Chandu and Shalini do. It's a 3-day session, March 13th to 15th. A lot of registrations are happening. And of course, before that, we have the Mahashivaratri celebrations also in Pyramid Valley on Sunday. The celebration starts from, I think, evening 4 p.m. or 3 p.m., continues till midnight. And then post midnight, the pyramid is open for people to meditate. Where I am doing a session on Shiva Sutras for a 1 hour session on English inside the pyramid that evening. All right, and then apart from that, we have the summer camp, and summer camp at Pyramid Valley is pretty popular. Some of you who have kids or who have kids who can go to the summer camp, right? They're happening all through April and May in different batches. So you can send your children to attend the summer camp. And then there are different programs that are happening like Mind to Matter 5-week online program. And anyone interested in hosting events can also be participating there. All right. So please head off to pyramidvalley.org for a lot of events. And then, of course, buddhaceo.org, also a lot of meditation sessions happening, youth meditation sessions, as well as the daily morning meditation sessions. All right. So with that, let's dive into 15-minute practice of meditation, and then we'll open up for experience sharing and any feedback or any questions that you might have. All right. So with that, my dear friends, let's dive into breath mindfulness meditation. I'll walk you through the 7 factors. See if you're able to feel any of the 7 factors as we walk through this guided meditation. All right. So let's get into our comfortable meditation posture. All of us know. Stay in a relaxed posture. Keep your back, neck straight and relaxed. Close your eyes. Bring your attention to your body. Slowly bring your attention to your nostrils or your chest region or your stomach region and follow your every breath. Be aware of your body. As your body rests on the chair, feel your feet resting on the floor. Do a quick body scan from your toes, your legs, to your hips, to your chest region, your shoulders, your arms, your head, and your face. Slowly bring your awareness to your heart region. Feel the emotion in your heart at this time. Without judgment, whatever you're feeling, the lightness, the heaviness, the softness. Just simply notice what is happening in your heart region. Do you feel your heart beating? Do you feel a sense of heaviness? Notice as you breathe in normally, naturally, what happens in your heart and chest region. Are there movements? Are there sensations? Be mindful of the body part. Be mindful of the feeling tone, pleasant, unpleasant. Be mindful of the emotion, gratitude or joy. Do not change anything. Just observe whatever is happening. Observe what is happening moment to moment. This is awareness. This is mindfulness. Now, bring a sense of gentle curiosity to your meditation. Notice your breath. Move your attention from your heart region to your breath. Wherever you are able to feel your breath at your nostrils, in your chest region or your stomach region. Notice your breath. What is happening as you breathe in and breathe out? Be curious. Are you able to feel the air moving in and out of your nostrils? Are you able to feel the air warm or cold? Is it deep or shallow? Feel the texture. This is curiosity. This is investigation. Be curious as to what you are feeling as you listen to the music. Be curious to any distractions that are happening around you. If you feel a sensation, be curious, is it because of your breathing or because of an external factor? So we are investigating out of curiosity, not out of judgment, not to judge anything. Next, notice the quality of energy you feel at this moment. How alert are you? How relaxed are you? Or how dull or fatigued are you? Are you feeling sleepy? Are you feeling alert? So this is the factor of energy. Are you feeling a sense of strain or tension in any part of the body? Only when you have energy, you'll be able to be aware of the mind wandering and bring your attention or control your attention back to your breath. When we are low in energy, we miss those transitions. Feel grateful for your persistence in attending each of these sessions and your continued practice of meditation. When you're mindful of your body and breathing, when you have this mild curiosity, which is the investigation factor, when you have appropriate, adequate energy, then joy rises. Just feel if any part of your body you're feeling a sense of joy, a sense of pleasure, a sense of relaxation. In longer meditations, you'll feel that bliss flowing through, the joy flowing through. You'll automatically feel a smile coming over. But for now, feel if you are finding it good to be still, to be present. Feel the joy of not thinking. Feel the joy the music creates. Joy is already there in each one of us. The joy of breathing, the joy of being alive, the joy of awareness itself. The moment we remove the clutter, remove the noise, we are able to feel the joy. If you're able to feel joy at some parts of your body, observe the joy and spread it throughout your body. Let the feeling of joy flow through your body. From joy comes peace, comes tranquility, a deep settling, body and mind at peace. Allow your shoulders to drop, let the belly soften, feel relaxed. Feel the stillness that's pervading throughout your body, not just the physical stillness, but the quietness of mind. There's nothing urgent, nothing demanding your attention. Just rest as you are, wherever you are. Feel the peace knowing everything is happening as it should happen. Notice if your breath has become quieter, more refined. Notice if you are enjoying sitting still with your body and mind. Feel the peace. When you are with the breath, our nervous system resets. Our heart functions at ease. Our mind slows down. Just be with this quality of deep calm. As you are in the tranquil, peaceful state, your concentration deepens. You'll notice you're able to place your attention on your every breath, breath after breath after breath. Every in-breath, every out breath. Just stay with it. When the mind is tranquil, it becomes easier to stay focused. The attention doesn't jump around. Feel the minute steps of your inhale and exhale. Now, slowly expand your awareness to your whole body. Feel your breath flowing through your whole body. Feel the joy, feel the peace, feel the focus. At this time, include any sensations, sounds, any other thing that you're hearing from outside as well. And notice the fact that you're not getting disturbed. You're beyond whether you're like or not like the music. You're beyond any other distractions around you. That's the state of equanimity. Not getting bothered by distractions. If something pleasant arises, you notice it. If something you feel unpleasant, you notice it. They don't drag you off your centering. That is the 7 factors, my dear friends. Mindfulness of breathing, investigation into the nature and the effects of breathing, feeling a sense of elevated energy, feeling a sense of joy, peace, focus, and equanimity. As we do this practice for longer duration, you'll be able to feel each of these factors. These arise automatically. You don't need to do anything or keep watching whether these things happen. All you need to do is observing your breath at a point, feeling your body, observing distractions, bringing your attention back to your breath. Last 2 minutes. Stay with your breath at any point, focused on any part of your body. Wonderful, my dear friends. Now express gratitude to yourself, to the wisdom of the masters, to your presence, to your energies, and your persistence. Feel grateful to all the people around you who are enabling you, who are allowing you on this practice of learning to be free from suffering. With that sense of gratitude, joy, peace, and equanimity, now let's emerge from today's meditation, my dear friends. Become aware of your body, become aware of the room you are in. Slowly place your palms on your eyes for a few seconds and you can open when you're ready. Wonderful. I hope this short meditation was sweet and pleasant. Not that we crave for pleasantness. We are okay with whatever has happened, but at least you are in that zone of peace. So with that, my dear friends, the whole idea of this 6-session course was to bring forth Buddha's wisdom from Satipatthana Sutta on the 4 foundations of mindfulness to each and every one of you. The whole idea is to understand all that we need is enhancing our awareness, enhancing our level of consciousness for us to get rid of pain that causes suffering. And I hope it's been useful. I would really love to have each one of you practice it, both through the practice of meditation as well as outside the practice of meditation. So meditation is sitting, that's a net practice. Mindfulness is when you're playing the game of life, when you are going through those difficult situations in family, with other people, or at work, or solving a health challenge. All right. So with that, the wisdom session ends. Now, I'd really want any of you have any feedback, any of you have any questions, I can kind of allow unmuting as well. Give me a minute. Yes, please raise your hand or type your questions on the chat window. We'll take it. Anyone wants to share your experiences on how your levels of awareness have helped you in some form or the other during the last 3 days? Sorry, 3 weeks. Sorry, 3 weeks. Yes. Yes, Valli ma'am, please go ahead.
Sir, in amazing 3 weeks,
Sorry,
every day.
One sec.
Are you able to hear me, sir?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So every session, I think the way it is planned step by step from mindfulness, for body scanning and decision making, and I think today was outstanding and very, very practical and doable. So I did experiment a few things. So when you mentioned about identifying the emotion and being okay with that. So last week there came a situation where very high disappointment, and I remembered, okay, let me try it. So I just took few minutes to understand what exactly the feeling is and emotion is. It's such a revelation to me. Earlier, that holding that emotion would be so difficult. So the minute I recognized it's a disappointment and sadness, and within few minutes I could see that it is just going, and I just told myself I'm okay with the disappointment. This is the feeling, this is the emotion, and I'm fine with that. That's all I did, and I see that making a huge difference after few minutes. So that is one thing. And last Tuesday's decision making meditation, I think I experimented next day. Again, I had to take a decision on a travel, um, and I really wanted to go. And some things came up, and I was doubtful whether I should go ahead with the travel or not. So when I did that meditation about the same thing, and I used the recording that you had, and when I said, first I went with yes, yes, I must go. And I realized that my body and my feelings and emotions were not so strongly responding. So again, I changed. Then I said, okay, this time I'll go with the no. So the minute I went with no, my body started tightening, and it gave all opposite reaction, and that gave me a clarity that I should go for this. The S is the answer. So outstanding tool, and every session I think to practice every, we must keep revisiting and practice it, and it can be outstanding practice on a daily basis. Thank you so much, sir. It's an outstanding. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for the sharing. Yes, I think, yeah, these are all age-old, timeless wisdom of Buddha. So I think there was a question on what book to read, right? So Four Foundations of Mindfulness, a lot of books available. So you can go through each one of those. And thank you, Wali ma'am, for sharing. Appreciate it. Yes, all these are very plain, simple, common sense tools with awareness, right? Only thing is, one thing we don't know that is very effective. Now that we know, it's a question of practicing it every time. Thank you. Yes, Ashwini ma'am, you're on mute. Yes, please go ahead. You are unmuted, but we are not able to hear you. Okay. Anybody else? Let me see if there are any things on the chat window. Thank you. All sessions helped to be in present moment and helped in noticing anger and control by taking to myself. Blessed to be part of this session. Okay, I've already talked about the book. Yes, Radhika ma'am, please. Yeah, please go ahead. I'm not able to hear your audio. Is it me? No, we're not able to hear you.
Hello, am I audible now?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
So first of all, sir, thank you very much for the 6 sessions. Like Wali ma'am just mentioned, I just wanted to reiterate a couple of her points. I mean, the way you put across these nuances, although they sound very simple for most of us, but the granularity and the depth with which you covered each of the session has been phenomenal. I think these are very practical for all of us. I'm sure most of us would agree. Um, for me, in particular, one thing that stood out was the decision-making structure that you presented in the last class. And usually, for somebody who comes across as very analytical, in the approach, this comes across as a very structured tool for us to weigh in on any sort of a dilemma that we come across. And some things have been very unsettling for me for the past few months. And when I applied this tool, I'm still applying it at different phases. I do see there is a lot of clarity emerging. And usually, we used to look at only thoughts versus emotions, not everything synchronized together. But the beauty of this tool I found was you sort of look at it at each level, and then in combination, what emerges out gives you a lot of clarity. So personally, it's kind of helping me a lot. So thank you very much once again for all the wisdom that you have shared and guiding us through this. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for sharing. Appreciate your inputs. Yes, Raj sir.
Good evening, Sai, sir. I'm Raj Madhavan. I'm from Toronto, Canada. I don't have very much to say, but I want to just share one thing is, first time I came to know you is through a breath by breath meditation session 2 years ago. I'm sure you would have had it, the similar sessions afterwards, but I didn't know. But 2 years ago, that was an amazing sessions, and I still do have the video, so I refer that. And after that, this is the second sessions that I'm listening from you. It's totally amazing. And when we came to meditation, so okay, we do meditation, we learn all the principles of meditation, but then the mindfulness, of course, we don't deal in depth like this before. The mindfulness that most of us knew is be present at the stage, and that's about it. So that means I do practice mindfulness a lot in my day-to-day life. Is the way I do is it's a very simple technique that I do is never worry about the past and never be anxious about the future. So anything and everything in my life, personal life. So for example, never worry about the wrong choices I did in the past. Never worry about the outcome that came as a result of my wrong doing in the past. Or never be anxious about what is going to happen next, or which I practice in day-to-day life. So that is my mindfulness, that my understanding was.
Wonderful.
Due to your sessions of 6-day sessions, I attended every single day, is gave a good big dimensions of mindfulness. It is totally amazing, and I'm going to really share your videos among lots of my friends and relatives. Even though some people may not be in meditation, but mindfulness will be very much needed for them. A lot of people may not understand the purpose of meditation or the benefits of meditation, because many people may think that meditation is not for me. It's when I get older, but mindfulness is very much needed for everybody. And thank you very much for your session. I really admired it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for sharing. Yes, that's a right point, right? So people who don't want to practice meditation or don't have the time or whatever inclination to do meditation, yes, being aware of things, mindfulness will definitely help as they practice the different activities, right? So it's almost like active meditation, being mindful of things every moment. Once they do it, the whole purpose of meditation is also to get that mindfulness on our everyday activities. And if people are able to practice that, I know a lot of Western schools have non-meditation based mindfulness practices as well. So which is good, they'll do it. Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
And really appreciate your remembering the breath by breath. 2 years ago. Yeah, we've done a lot of breath by breath sessions since then. But thanks. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Yes, Jagdish sir. Namaste. Thanks for joining. It's been inspirational. You've been joining every session.
Thank you very much. So mindfulness is something everyone talks about, and there are books about it, Titan or Osho, everyone. But to me, it was very interesting that when I joined the course, there's a kind of a compulsion to practice what you apparently knew. It's okay as a meditator, you talk about. You say, "Oh, mindfulness, very good." But what helped me most was those, weekly exercises you gave, and I was disciplined to make sure that I performed those exercises. regularly,
Very good.
including the decision-making thing. I think that day itself, I said on a chat,
Yes, I saw
there
that.
was a decision that I had to take it, and then it helped me a lot. Not a very critical decision, but a very important decision. And so it's wonderful. Thank you very much. I did enjoy it, and I hope we keep meeting each other together
Yeah.
for this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Really appreciate your sharing. Appreciate your presence as well. Yeah. So, I know for people who don't know, Jagdish sir is a retired professor from IIM Bangalore, and he's been a very ardent patron of Buddha CEO and Pyramid Valley, and we keep seeing him often in a lot of our sessions. Thank you, sir. Anyone else? So let me read. I think Ashwini ma'am has typed in here. Day 1, observing unpleasant, pleasant, neutral didn't have any effect, but day 3, the moment I became aware of it, the effect the incident had on me started diminishing. I became responsive and silent on it. It disappeared very quickly, and now I enjoy the process because everything in effect goes vanishing. Yes, that is what Buddha's biggest teaching, right? It's all impermanent. This too shall pass. So wonderful. Thank you, ma'am, for sharing. We have a lot of clarity and awareness. Wonderful. So all the session recordings are available on the Pyramid Valley YouTube channel. If you go to the Pyramid Valley YouTube channel, you'll find a playlist earmarked with Superpower Mindfulness. And as I mentioned, it's also available on the Be Supermind app, along with a lot of other meditations, other guided meditations by Chandra sir as well. So Breath by Breath is also there on the Be Supermind app, as well as even the Breath by Breath playlists are available on the Pyramid Valley YouTube channel as well. All right. So wonderful. Anyone else? Any more sharing or? So if any of you, I think I've been sharing the session summary, which itself is very good if anybody wants the PowerPoint, because that's kind of a written summary of the PowerPoint, the slides as well as the session, right? So you might have noticed that itself is very descriptive and clear. But if any of you really want the slides, again, a lot of text in that and all that, so you can just either, yes, if you're on the WhatsApp group, you can ping me direct. I can share you the slides, or you can send me email at this saiksagar@pyramidvalley.org as the email ID. But if you are having those session summary documents, that itself is very self-explanatory, and it paints a very good picture, better than a slide can tell you. Because I've not used too many of pictures, it's a lot more of the categorization. All right, if any of you want, you can just do this. And Be Supermind app is available on iOS Play Store and App Store. So you can just go search for Be Supermind, BE Supermind, and you'll be able to download that on your iOS or Android phones. There's a web version as well, which is app.besupermind.com if you want to do it on the web browser. All right. Wonderful, my dear friends. With that, I had a wonderful time preparing for these sessions in terms of the slides and all that, and then also kind of talking about them. I hope everything was useful, and I hope the practices you are able to practice. And I'm very thankful to each one of you by attending these sessions again and again, the last 6 sessions, and a lot of you have also kind of gone through some of the practices. You are very responsive and responding to my questions, so which is usually how my sessions are. So wonderful, and hope you all have mindful, conscious, everyday living with all these wisdom and practices that you learned. And see you soon on another course on behalf of Pyramid Valley, or I'll see you at Pyramid Valley and any of the retreats or workshops or the full moon meditations or any of the celebrations that we have there. Wonderful. All right. So thank you very much and have a wonderful time, mindful time. Thank you.